wonder how they were going to represent me while I was still sitting down on the set. But
you will not even wait for me to go to rest. You're already representing.
Okay, the whole idea today, you know, we have a wonderful today's live community. So I just want to prank them to tell them that today I'm doing the show alone. You understand? So, and by just starting, you just blow my
cover. We don't want you to confuse them. That's why.
So how are you doing?
Fine. It's a good day. It's a beautiful day. It feels good to be alive. More importantly, it's a day the Lord has given to us. So, as always, we'll rejoice and
be glad in it. Yes, I can see us really looking so cheerful. You know, even with the issues of life. You know,
honestly, if you are to go by the vicissitudes, you know, when I like to use this word because of the weight it carries and it explains the current situation that the world, the country, and everything people are actually going through. We can't deny the fact that people are actually suffering. The times are hard. People are just struggling, trying to survive. Just when you think I'm done with this problem, I can have my peace, then you hear another one.
Okay.
And you're just like, I remember saying on one of our programs that, see, if we're not careful, the common man will just turn to dust. Because just you alone, left, right, and center. But we are grateful that we are alive. We can even talk about the challenges. It's something that to be grateful for. There are people out there that are at the ICU, some as we speak, they're mortuary, some are in pain, they can't even open their mouth. So think about it. You trek to work and you're complaining there's somebody that doesn't even have the leg. So you are able to open your mouth and talk. There's another person that cannot talk as we speak. So we don't have any choice than to be grateful. It's something that we should live our life daily, hourly, every second, giving gratitude to God.
To God, yes, of course.
Another thing to be grateful about is the way we are all reacting. You're not seeing hostility on the streets, because that's the next thing that happens when people are desperate and in need. But it's nice and great. We are grateful to God that a lot of us are not reacting with hostility because it will turn out bad. We're always hoping that things will get better, and we're hoping that we'll continue to hold our peace as well.
Sure. Well, for a viewer out there, today we'll be looking at the value of education. Just do well. We're live on Facebook and YouTube. Just connect with us. Let's hear your view. What do you think about the topic that we are discussing today? Like, please just send the comments and we will take it. It's a promise. Value of education.
Quite interesting. When you talk about education, a lot of people's mind goes to school, 4 walls of the school, the classroom and all. But education today is beyond the 4 walls of school, is beyond classroom. Education has transcended to even be you learning in the corner of your room. Education is about experiences. Education is about the moral lesson you learned from the story your grandfather, your grandmother tells you. Education is about listening to people and then learning from their experience. Education is about that skill, is about that business idea, how you sat down to come up with a list of what to do and how to do. That is education. We're talking about the value. There are a lot of times I found myself in places and I just said to myself, oh, thank God I have at least a little of education. We always say that every opportunity you have, you learn. For you don't just live, but we learn every day. And that's why sometimes when certain things happen to you, just say, well, it's a lesson. There are a lot of times that I remember telling myself that, well, it's a lesson. I've learned. It means that it will not happen again. Because next time, when I'm thinking of throwing this part, I'll remember that the last time I did, this was the result. So I have learned. There's value that I have taken from that situation. And sometimes I don't have to allow the things to happen to me. I can learn from Prudence experience. You know, yesterday Prudence was saying when we were talking about relationship, that what bothers her is that she lives in a community or society where you see certain things happening to other people, and then some other people will still tell that same path, haven't seen that Mr. A followed here and he ended in a ditch. Then I even heard of the story, I've seen what he went through, then I'll say my story will be different, I'll still take the same route, and it will still be the same story. So I should not wait to go and put my hand on the fire myself and get burnt before I will know that, see, if you put your hands in the fire, it will get burnt. That I should be able to learn from another person's experience, that, see, when you do that, you're going to get burned. So education is just all encompassive. It's far beyond the 4 walls. There are a lot of people that went through the 4 walls, but it was the 4 walls that went through them. Because they came out from it. They had the certificate that say, oh, Mrs., Miss, Mr. This is a graduate of this, he has attained this height, but their life, their character, their attitude, how they relate to people does not translate, like what they have is certificate does not translate in their actions or their attitude. You even wonder that, are you sure this person went to school? Have you not had people say that? That even, are you really sure? Because education in its entirety is supposed to humble you. But today you see people boasting, being proud, oh, I'm this, I'm that, and you are wondering, is this person truly educated? Because if you are, you will know that, see, the meaning of life is not even found in your certificate. You get? So it helps you know that, oh, this other person is also human as I am. So I should be able to relate with him with some level of respect. That's what education is. So the value of education cannot be underemphasized. It is something that is good. It teaches us skills. It teaches us how to relate with people, experiences that makes us better. Like the language you speak today, somebody passed it to you. You get? It is all education. In the society, you see older people, you greet them. You learn that. So all these are values of education. It is a value of education that you see somebody, like somebody is trying to express himself, and you know that you're supposed to be quiet. Listen to that person. That's what education does to you. It is education that makes you know that when you're in public place, you should not be chewing gum like prostitute. That's why some people will just look at you like this and they're amazed. Oh, you're in a public transport and chewing gum like that. Wow. Just wow.
You know, this is on a light note. My mom does this. So we've all gone to school, myself and my siblings. But my mom does this. So she tells you to do something and you're not doing it the way she thinks you should do it. She tells you, and to think I took these children to school. she says it in Hausa. She says something like, you went to school and you still have to borrow somebody's brain to do something. So that's the reaction a lot of people have if you are not having the attitude or the behavior that you should have if you have gone to the 4 walls. Because they give a little bit of leniency to people who haven't gone to the 4 walls. It's like, okay, you're permitted to behave like that because you've not gone to the 4 walls of the school. But sometimes you find that someone who hasn't gone to the 4 walls of the school behaves in a better way than the person who has gone to that. This is this is what's key and important. This person decided in his heart that education is not just about book knowledge. Education is not about somebody standing up in a classroom and teaching me. Education is how I relate to people, how I behave around people, how I socialize, how am I sociable. That's what education is to this person. And to this person, he would probably be thinking something like, education doesn't just start the day you start going to school to crutch from. No, education starts from the stomach when the child is still being formed. Before this child is complete, there is communication between him and the mother. So at that point, education begins. There are times when, and I don't have a scientific backing to this, but there are times when I've seen someone talking to a pregnant woman who has serious issues with her child, like okay, so she can't sleep because the child keeps kicking through the night or for some reasons, and you find someone soothing her and telling the child, let your mom sleep today, and you find it interestingly that this woman will have a sweet night rest. So education begins from that point. There are certain information that you begin to inculcate into people. That's education. Information that starts from the grassroots. Information that makes your behavior acceptable, morally acceptable in a society that you find yourself. But the whole book knowledge thing, the whole book going to school and learning certain courses, it's important. We are not disputing that fact. It is important because for people who are really interested in these things, they come out shining bright and making a lot of success in that area. But you find that the big names that you find in this world, the richest man, the most innovative person, the big names, the guys that are in the Guinness Book World Record and all that, you would find that a lot of them did not go to these four worlds, or if they did, it was just for a period of time. You find a lot of people saying, oh, this dropout made it, this dropout made it. But it's not about the dropout making it. It's about, at that moment, this dropout has superseded the level of knowledge that he was gaining in the school. So, okay, so I know when you continue going to school and you're like, these people, they're still backwards. So he decides, okay, let me just break out and see what I can do with this whole knowledge that I have in my head. That's education. He has decided to build this thing to success. It's not that he's dropping school because he's against the norm of going to school. Mostly it's about, I think I can do better out of the four walls of this place. So let me do it so that people will see. For me, I said it in one of these episodes that learning is result. See, if I can't see a result at the end of the day, then you have not learned nothing. Talking about etiquette, you mentioned that it is learning. It is that I have learned something that I would not go out and just pick on anybody for no reason and begin to be rude to that person. It is because I have learned that I would not go out and chew gum unnecessarily and disgustingly in front of people. It is because I have learned that I would remember to put a deodorant on before I go out to the crowd. It is because I have learned that I would take a bath before I leave my house. It is all because of learning. If not, you would find a lot of people behaving like animals. But because we have learned, that's why the society is a nice place to live in. It's a place that you want to relate with other people because you learn and you keep learning.
Value of education, like you rightly said, it cannot be overemphasized. It is very important for us to know that you can only hold something with high esteem if you attach value.
Yes.
If you attach value. Okay, you are educated. What value can we see? What value can we see out of that education, out of that knowledge that you acquire through education? And if you ask me, I will tell you, anywhere you find yourself is a classroom. Anywhere you find yourself is a classroom. Whether you are in the bush, you are inside car, you are in a house, you are in a village, you are in a university setting, or secondary school setting, or primary school, anywhere you find yourself at that particular moment you're in school. Do you know why? Because activities are going on there. And you are expected, because you are given a brain, you are expected to use the brain. The senses that you have, you are expected to use those senses to apply to the environment where you are. That is when you will notice that there is danger. If you are somewhere, your senses will just tell you that there is danger, and you are expected to act. Now you begin to think of safety. If that place begin to look like the place is dangerous, you begin to think of safety. And how can you apply safety? It's because of things you have stored, that you know when certain things like this are happening, this is the antidote, this is what you are supposed to do. And that is why through education you get knowledge. Through knowledge, you are expected to have wisdom. That is why you said it earlier, that some people, you'll be wondering, like, you said first class? Like, seriously? And because you can see, yes, he's a first class person, but the wisdom that you are expected attached to the first class title is not there. That's when you begin to question. But you look at some people and then you'll be like, no wonder. You said this person is a first class student. No wonder. Because you can see the value, being expressed in whatever he does. And you see, one thing with us is that we, from our orientation, like you said earlier, you said it starts from the grassroots. And where is the grassroots? Home. Like you said, from the stomach, how the parent engaged the baby. I saw how some people were praying, talking to the child, praying to the child, telling the child, this is the reason why he's being formed. And he will come, he will be this, he will behave this, he will behave this. And praying against any evil that will come after, in the stomach, and even after giving birth. Some difficulties that women do get, during pregnancy and the rest. I see people addressing that. And sometimes I'll be like, so he said, yes. He said, you are expected that anything that God gives you, he expects you to take care of it. So use every means given by him to protect that thing. I was like, wow. So it starts from there. And then, no wonder you will hear people in the society, in our family, they'll be like, go to school because it is important. It is important. It's a global setting, which you are expected if you go to school. For instance, you learn mass communication and you will communicate with people globally based on the standard of broadcasting. You understand? If you are a mathematician, you are expected, this is what you will teach, and this is what people will get, and these are the kind of people that will use your kind of knowledge to use and do certain things. That's why they will tell you, if you go to the hospital, they will tell you, take 2 in the morning, take 2 in the you understand. And then if they are measuring something, they calculate, and they say, that's when they will say, how can a doctor forget something, after operation in a patient's stomach? You begin to raise certain questions about the person's training. You understand? So there's a way we attach importance now, not value. Importance, like it is important for you to just go. And that's why you find some people who just go to the 4 wall of classroom just because they feel it is important for them to just go to school.
Let me make something clear, example to Solomon.
Yes.
And it's to everybody out there. Don't let anybody deceive you. Like, let no one deceive you that education is of no value. Education is of utmost importance. In fact, we live in a society where if you're not educated, you will never be regarded. Now, remember that from the beginning, I said something about education being beyond the 4 walls.
Wow.
It's about learning from experiences. It's about skill acquisition. It's about self-taught. It's about you striving for knowledge. And I like the fact that you said when you acquire the knowledge, it transcends to wisdom. I recall back then in school, we're taught logic and philosophy. How that when someone is talking, you'll be able to know if this argument is valid or is invalid. And at the moment you know or you decode that this argument is invalid, as someone that is educated, you will not continue in that argument. That is education. Without that, me hearing that, I wouldn't have known. Or without me creating time to read more about that, I would never know. That's why you find out that you are arguing with somebody, you argue till tomorrow, the person is not agreeing, you are not agreeing, and you are continuing in this, and that argument is baseless. That argument is invalid, but you are in it. It is only education that will tell you don't waste your energy. This is not even valid at all. I've had people argued about, in fact, recently a denomination started a university that was supposed to kickstart, and I had a lot of arguments on Facebook and everywhere. People were busy, everybody was saying his point of view, insulting the church, saying, oh, we did this, we did that, and most of which, in the true sense of it, some of these people, when you check, they never donated 1 naira to the building, because it is said that the tin that is filled hardly makes sound. It is always the empty one that is making sound. So people that gave from a cheerful heart. They gave for the expansion of God's work. And this is not to give excuse for anybody's failure, but this is to let you know that, see, there are some arguments that you should not be engaging. And I had people arguing about it. So, but why would the church do this after compelling people to do this, to do that? I was asking, compel? I am a Christian. I attend the church. Nobody has ever put gun to my neck to say you must put offering. Nobody has ever told me you must pay tithe with gun. And nobody has told me you must like. So when I hear people say compelling people to, and all of that, using all manner of English that shows force. And I asked one of the person I had arguing, I just asked, I said, were you able to see that document that they was signing an agreement between this person and that people have been arguing? There was no answer till today. But all of those arguments, people voicing out, was based on what this person said. Somebody that I know said this, somebody, and then you have been arguing, you are even angry, you are showing, and all of that. Education will let you know that it's pointless. It is really needless for you to engage in that. There are so many times I hear people talking and I don't even, like, people expect you to contribute, but I don't even have time for that because it's baseless.
You know what I find interesting is that education teaches you to mind your business. And when I say mind your business, I don't mean that you don't care about your neighbor or assist your neighbor. It means that you don't find yourself in baseless arguments. You don't find yourself in unnecessary things that you should not put your hands to. Unnecessary competition as well. And all that. All those other, that's what education does to you. It teaches you, okay, so this is the work you need to do. Let me do it with the word of my heart. If somebody I come across is in need of help, I lend out my hand of help. So education teaches you where your boundaries are and where you start and where you stop. Education teaches you all that. But this doesn't happen in the four walls of the school. It does.
That's why I said earlier on, Prudence, that when we talk about education and the value, people should not restrict it to the four walls of the classroom.
Yes.
Today, education has advanced that you can even be at home and just get educated. We've seen institutions and schools that are now online. With just your system and everything, you can learn. There are people that have dedicated and devoted their time to reading. There are people that you see them always on YouTube trying to study, trying to follow up on videos, and they learn as well. So when we talk about education and its value, don't just restrict it. And that's why I say do not be deceived that education doesn't have value. It's of utmost importance. Unless you can contribute to the growth and development of the society, nobody will regard you. When decisions are going to be taken, your name will not even be mentioned. Nobody will consider, can you open your door? See, this is what we are planning. In fact, even in the family, do you not know that when certain decisions are taken, there are some people that must be there before such decisions are taken? There are certain people that will be called that person that I'm even talking about might not have attended the four walls of the classroom, but when it comes to dishing out wisdom. That person's knowledge and wisdom must be relied upon. So don't restrict it. In fact, that's why we said earlier on, there are people that went to the four walls, but they don't contribute anything to the table, because it was actually the school that went through them, not them going through school. You are just there. And somebody made a joke that the one important thing about being in university is that while you are there, even if you're not understanding what is happening in the classroom, your family are there celebrating, oh, our child is studying at the University of Jos. They don't even know that maybe you're not even attending class, or whatever they are teaching in class, you are not even understanding anything, but they're there being proud. That's how the society is. But we are living now, we are faced with the reality. If you even come out from the school, there are a lot of expectation on you. So, you studied mass communication, what can you do? What can you do? That is the point that we are talking about. What can you do? See, education is about impact. If you are educated and you're not making impact, then you are not check your education again. If you're not making impact beyond your self growth, another person should feel the impact of your education daily, hourly, by minutes, by second. When people encounter you, they should know that, wow, this person is educated, because there's something that they are able to take from you. You leave, people will take home because you are educated. How do people relate with when people meet and speak with you? When they leave, do they say, hey, I'm glad that I spent 1 minute, 2 minutes with that person? Or they just say, this person actually wasted my time? Now everybody is taking is seeing the value of time. Nobody wants to waste time, because we are talking about being a perilous time. So if I'm going to spend 2 hours with you, what am I going to get? That's how people are thinking. And if they know that when I come to your place today, tomorrow, I'm not gaining anything, no growth, nothing, nobody will come around you. You see where education comes in, the value of education. But when I come around you and I learn from you, tomorrow I want to come and get more. There are people that when you just sit with them for 5 minutes, like you'll be cold. You'll be wondering, so you have been on this earth, you have been living and you don't know this. You've not seen an angle to this. Haven't you seen somebody preach about the same John 3:16 that you have been memorizing since your Sunday school days, and you did not even know this angle of that message? So, like, this is what we are talking about, education. That you are able to impact beyond you. You are adding something to somebody. You're adding something to the society, the family, in fact, to the world. There are people that die, and when you hear people share testimony, you'll be like, wow. There are people that when they die in a community, you see how people are crying because they are saying, how would we continue? People are crying and saying, may God raise somebody like this. Why? Because this person lived a life that was filled with impact. So we should see education as your ability to impact, your ability to make someone's life better. Not education is not all about pulling people down. Because there are people that feel, oh, I went to school, I'm an educated. Do you know who I am? A learned individual like me.
Bloody secondary.
Yes.
You hear people saying now.
So because you have attained,
what do you have to tell me? Shut up, my friend.
It even shows that there are questions about your education. Because if you know that if you're educated, you'll be able to see that this person is human, as I am. I will see that Prudence is also human, created by God. And the Bible says in his own image. So if Prudence is created in the image of God, and I will see how I will look down on her, it means I'm looking down on God. So education will make you to be able to allow you apply wisdom, and you will know that, no, I shouldn't talk down on this person. She's created in the image of God. That's what education helps us to do. See, with education, the world is a better place. Look at all these countries that we're calling developed countries, developed what? It is education. And because they see the value of education, even in their budget allocation, they don't joke with education. Like, they spend to ensure that people learn, people acquire skills, people acquire knowledge. They spend because they know that there's value in education. But how do we treat education over here? That people can just go buy their ways, people can buy certificate, people can just live their life because I know that my uncle is in this ministry. At the end of the day, I will just have my way, go get the certificate, and that is it. And you see ministries, parastatals, companies, organizations, businesses going down by day because people are not applying wisdom and knowledge. You employ on the basis of who do you know. Because this person is related to this person that I know, and I know you employ, you give them position. And when it comes to bringing their ideas, bringing results, there is nothing to bring at the table. Now, let me tell you one secret of a lot of people that are established, people that we see that, oh, they have made it in life, and we keep making example with them that they didn't go to school. They know the value of education. They employ people that are are people that are well educated to man up certain positions. They might not be there, they might just be there controlling, but they take ideas from these people that are well educated, people that are knowledgeable. So don't deceive yourself that it's not Dangote. The Dangote go to school. Dangote is educated. If he's not educated, then he won't put the right people at the right place.
Yeah, very true, very right. And I think a lot of people need to listen to this and hear this. You talk about Bill Gates, you talk about who and who, the names keep going on about those. Oh no, he dropped out of high school. His education was up to. A lot of people who are making it are high school graduates. And when I say high school graduates, it's like a secondary school graduate here in our side, in our environment. It's like, this is what happens. They have decided that they would give value. Education at the end of the day is what we see, is result. You have philosophers that you keep on quoting, Socrates, Plato, all those. You said these are educated people, but the truth is,
by people that are not educated, people that didn't even go to school, but what is their motivation? Like I said before, now people that went to the school and are unemployed, they say, you have been disturbing me to go to school. This person that went to school, graduated, did masters, did PhD, is at home 7 years. Me and her, we are still at home together.
You see, the importance is just
greatest
giving
motivation.
value. And you see this working, like around the environment that you're working, you find people who have said, okay, so I have a degree, some even to the extent of having a master's degree, and you find that this person who is just skilled is doing far better. But you know what I learned over time is that going to school and having all those degrees is supposed to give you an edge in everything you put your hands to do. Even if at the end of the day you go back to using your hands to do something like skills, there should be an edge because you went to the 4 walls of the school. That does not mean the 4 walls of the school is what taught you what you are doing right now. It only means that you opened your heart to learn. And when you learned it, you decided, okay, let me not just hide it, let me give it out. It's like you lit a light, a lamp, a candle, so that the place will brighten up. That's basically what you're supposed to do. But we don't do that. It's like when someone says I'm educated, it's or when you hear somebody saying this person is educated, probably just hear things like, oh, he went to this school and he went to that school and he went to this school and he went to that school, but there's no value. You still find people that you went to the same schools with, the same institutions. You worked together, and then you find that this person is somewhere in the village doing nothing, useless to the community as well, and he drunk. Or a prostitute. Sorry to use that word. But that's how we live our lives. It's like sometimes we don't even see that, okay, I need to put value. And then you begin to say things like, situation that I found myself in. But if you are educated, the situation that you found yourself in will not hold you captive. You will break free because you are educated. You have learned over time that, okay, so I am stressed, I am disturbed, okay, I'm in this condition, things don't seem like they are working. Nobody wants to give me a helping hand. I find a helping hand by myself. One of these programs that we have, I think the Morning Drive, one of the earlier episodes of Morning Drive, there are these children that were like, okay, so they don't have pocket money. It's not like their parents can give them pocket money at that moment, but they decided to. They know that there are problems in the community. You can pack sand. You know, we have potholes, a lot of potholes. So you know that you can fetch sand and fill up this place for a token. And this is how these boys get their pocket money. You wouldn't tell me that somebody sat down and told these children, go and pack sand and block this road. No. They learned over time that they need these things, so they should work to earn it. And that will mean that later on, down the road, if any obstacle should come to this child's, before this child would be able to overcome it. He will be able to cross that hurdle, to jump that hurdle, and continue living life. That's what education does to you. It makes you push boundaries.
Like Joyce said earlier, that education is making impact. When you say you are educated, what do you have for me to take home? What do you have? You just mentioned this kids, that do normally pack sand and then patch potholes. Who created the potholes? They are not the ones. But they notice there is something. That means that issue of sense that we talked about. They activated and they were like, okay, there's pothole here. And then this could lead to accident. Probably, maybe that's just what is their mind. And somebody is not seeing. And you can imagine so many adults in the community are not even seeing. But the kids thought it wise that we will do this, we will avert this, and then at the end of the day, if someone gives us token, we will have pocket money. That means, in summary, education is problem solving. Whether the four walls of classroom,
That's right, problem solving.
It's
Problem solving.
education is problem solving. It is an organized setting to bring you, to tell you your ability, to spur you to excellent, to doing great, to using what you have to solve certain issues in the community, to create impact, to support people, to let people know that when you have this, you can use this to do this. In the beginning, in the initial, we don't know that we have fuel, like crude oil, isn't it, as a country? It was later we discover that there is crude oil. And then crude oil is being used to do this and this and A and B and C and D. And then from there, the country now engage herself in business with the international whatever. And then imagine that you don't have anybody in your country that is knowledgeable concerning anything crude oil. Just imagine.
But interestingly, that would mean the crude oil had been sleeping. Before it was discovered, it had been sleeping. Nobody knew that it was something of worth. It was there. Yes.
Tap into that. And why is it that when you have an issue, maybe let's say toothache, you're not being referred to a gynecologist, to be a dentist. Why? Because that dentist has acquired the knowledge to be able to proffer solution to that ache that you're having. That is education. That is the value of education. When Nigeria removed following the announcement by the President Bola Ahmed Tinubu of removal of first subsidy, there were a lot of reaction, led to even threats of strike shut down by NLC TUC. After they reached some level of agreement, that was some weeks back, and that led to the formation of some committees that were going to look into the demands and some of the solutions that people were preferring, such as introduction of the CNG vehicles, buses, and all of that. The committees that were set up, it is said that they will need to invite experts that will come and talk about how these things will work. We've seen situations where you hear, let's invite experts to come and see into this and that. I talk about Dangote not doing everything himself. All of the companies he has, all of the positions are occupied by people that are knowledgeable about the areas. So don't sit there and say this person dropped out of from school and then he's making this impact. Like almost every market you go from one shop or the other, you must see a product of Dangote, and you think there are no levels of education that has led to that. He can be bearing the name, but people that are doing this job are people that are knowledgeable about that area. So if you have acquired knowledge, it is expected that it will transcend to actions, and people will feel the impact. There will be results. So don't get motivated that because you did not go to school, even if it's at the let's not be using people that went to school and are not educated as our motivation. Are they not people that went to the school and are doing excellent in the society? Why can't you put them at the forefront as your motivation? You're saying that your greatest motivation, how you used to tell people that you're disturbing us about school. This one that went to school, is he employed? What about the other person that is the CEO of that organization? Didn't he go to school? Why is that person not your motivation? That's why I said earlier, and I'll still emphasize, don't let anybody deceive you. We live in a world where people keep encouraging people, forget about school, forget about this, forget about, if it's the school that will work for you, go to the school. If it is self-taught, you can just go on YouTube, watch videos, learn, acquire, and be better. Do it. If you can combine the two, do it. If your area of strength is skill acquisition, do it. If it is business, go for it. Whatever works for you, go for it. What we are saying is that don't deceive yourself under the disguise of 4 walls of school and then be boasting around, I'm educated. That's not what education is. Education is seen in what you can offer. So now, if we are to drop all our certificates and we are going to be rated based on what we are bringing to the table, what will be your level of education? Imagine that we're going to redefine education to not be the papers, but what you can offer.
And in the real sense, it's not even the paper.
You get. So just think about it. That you don't
keep the paper aside.
Don't be surprised that woman on the streets that fry akara will be the PhD holder, because at the end of the day, she makes more impact. Of what value is your education if nobody is feeling it? You get. So if this woman every day can think that these people that are into building, these people that cannot that don't leave their house as early as 6 wouldn't have to they can't wake up, cook, prepare breakfast before eating and then leaving the house because they need to beat the traffic and all, and she's thinking that I think I should be able to make this so that they can eat on their way going to work, they can buy and just do this and do that. Every day she does it, and she helps people to just go to work, concentrate on just going to work early. And you think that she's not making impact? People think that the cobbler out there is not making impact. You walk barefooted because just that time that you feel, this shoe I bought, yes, it's a good one, and then it just cuts.
You know, one thing that I would really take, and I think that everybody should take as well, is education is problem solving. See, a lot of people, even in the days of old, the ancient times, the whole era before what we are right now, the whole time before what we are right now, they had their own form of education. Everybody, so you need to understand this language to this point. So they start teaching the child so that this child will communicate. You need to understand the strategies of war because we would face war. That's education. A whole lot of different forms of education kept on growing and growing and growing. Storytelling, interesting. You don't even know that it's education here, because this person just sits down and says a lot of things, and at the end of the day, you're learning lessons.
What did you learn? See our hands up. That moment that you're about to lie, you remember that guy that lied in that grandma story is the one that stole in grandma story. His hand was cut off. So when you're thinking, let me pick me, to remember that John's hand was cut off because he stole it, and you will not do it. You were educated. So let's see education beyond the 4 walls of school. But let's look at this as your ability to impact, to leave the world a better place.
Exactly. Very true. And that's the key thing. Just know that you are living the world. You're giving out what you have in stock. You're not keeping it inside. If you say that you have learned, then let us see it. If I say that I have learned something, then let the society, let the world see it. And that's basically what we even do as Christians as well.
Well, Education, I'll still repeat myself, is beyond the four walls. If it is acquiring of, it is skill acquisition, if it's business, whatever you find, whatever works for you, do it. Don't rate yourself, your growth, your development by another person's standard, but sit down and ask yourself, what impact do I make every day of my life? Because I'll often say that if you sleep, you wake up, it means God is not done with you. God has not given up on you. So no man should give up on you. Even if he decide to, he or she is on her own. So strive to learn, strive to be educated. Don't be contented with the level that you are. Like when it comes to education, every day see it as an opportunity to be better than who you were yesterday. And when you strive for that, it will transcend in your actions, and even it will be seen in people that live around you and relate with you. So let's strive to learn, to understand, and to apply wisdom in all we do.
Well, Prudence, Joyce, thank you so much for doing this with me today. I will say my take home today is education is making impact. I really hold this, and I'm running with it. Honestly, I learned a lot today. Thank you so much. And for viewer out there, we sincerely appreciate you for giving us your time. We hope we will do this with you again tomorrow, same station, same time. Bye bye, and God bless you. Remember, be kind to one another.